the support by the World Bank is the same as what I was talking about, whether the one that they is helping NIS with on Bong said cleaning the social economic survey. Is that cleaning the data or cleaning or revising the questionnaire and the design of the survey?
Cleaning the data.
Okay, so I
So
think it's a two separate project.
because they also asking the local consultant and working with the NII staff to clean the social economic data, the latest one.
Okay. Okay, yes, that's good to know. I think we will share more about what the World Bank mentioned to us in the following slides from this. But if you have any questions and comment, then please let us know, and we will try to answer them before we go on a quick break.
បាទអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំដូចជាអត់មានសំណួរទេគ្នាយើងបើសិនជាមានសំណួរអាចសួរជាភាសាខ្មែរក៏បានដែរណាគុណ
បាទបងអរគុណច្រើនបងបាទ
Okay, I got one question from my colleague here regarding to the slum, because in the population census we do not have this variable. We only have the urban and rural area. We classify by the definition. So we have existing urban and rural. But by if we want to calculate the slum area, so we need to use some method. So the question is that, so how can we calculate the slum area from the population census?
Yes, Bong, thank you for the question. I think what TT was trying to say earlier is that the slides that she had on slums are for Mongolia. So as Bong can recall, this project, our project, has two components. We're working with NIS, and that's a key component. And another key component is our work with Mongolia on slum. So that is an ongoing element as well, and we'll hear more about the project update when we have our regional workshop to share information. Just a little bit on how we can use that to calculate slum. The custodian agency of the UN to work on this is UN Habitat, and they have the SDG metadata as well to measure whether a household is a slum or not. For example, you have 4 or 5 criteria, one being access to electricity, access to water, the number of living spaces. So if that one house has, for example, only one room and there's more than 3 or 4 people living in the same room, that is applicable to be considered as a slum, but they have to um, apply to other criteria as well for it to be considered a slum, for example. So essentially, you look at the household by these characteristics, and then you can create a model. You can create variables where you can say if this household has this and this and this, they can be considered slum, for example, and you can create multiple variables for that. And then once you've tabulated household that fits into those criteria, you can sort it by the household that qualifies to be called slum or not, and you can get a good total out of that, and you know how many household out of the total are living in slum. For example, they have I think a manual and a handbook on how you can do that. If Bo is interested, I can share with you, but it's not for our project. So our project only focuses on electricity, so that's okay.
Yes sir thank you បាទអញ្ចឹងគ្នាយើងផ្សេងទៀតដូចលោក Maradi លោកសម្រិទ្ធអីមានសំណួរអាចសួរបានអរគុណ
បាទបងហ្នឹងហើយសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំដូចជាអត់មានសំណួរអី
បាទអរគុណបាទបងយើងអាចអត់អីទេបងយើងអាចចូល break តិចក៏បានដែរព្រោះក្រោយហ្នឹងយើងមានឱកាសឆ្លើយមានសំណួរចម្លើយក្រោយទៀតក៏បានដែរហ្មងប៉ុន្តែបើបងមានសំណួរឥឡូវយើងអាចភាសាគ្នាឥឡូវក៏បានដែរបាទ Okay, so I guess we also have the opportunity to ask questions in the next sessions as well. But now I believe we can go and have a short break and freshen up before we start the second half of our session. So Matthew, what do you think? How long should we go for the break, or do you have any announcement before we do that?
No, that's fine. 10 minutes would be, I think, adequate for refreshing.
Sounds
So
good.
maybe start at 1/2 this hour.
Yeah, sounds good. So
3:30.
let's say 3:30, and then we come back. Okay, thank you everyone, and we'll see you all again at 3:30. បាទយើងអាចមកវិញcontinue training របស់យើងវិញបានទេបងឬក៏បងត្រូវការពេលប្រហែលជាមួយនាទីទៀតដែរ
យើងអាចចាប់ផ្ដើមបានហ្នឹងស្មានរត់អាចចាប់ផ្ដើមមកអរគុណ
បាទអរគុណច្រើនបងបាទ All right, so Matthew, TT, everyone's ready to continue with our training. So we perhaps can go to the next slide. Matthew, TT.
Yes, thank you, Rod. Maybe, yeah. We continue with the work bank study for SDGs 7.1.1. Here, they also in the paper they put the model. They use nighttime light. Nighttime light data here, and they corrected with of radiance level. They corrected with more pop data. I don't quite understand about that. But then they also use OpenStreetMap roads. They use OpenStreetMap roads for the road lighting. Lighting in roads. For lighting in roads, they also used it, and then they use road density, and they use grid finder data referring to the grid because it seems that they develop their population grid data, and here they also use multi-tier framework data, clustering, and they generic in here. It seems they use machine learning. Machine learning in the explanation they use, I guess, they use the supervised machine learning with models, regression model to combine the nighttime and the population in the paper. And the model estimation, they use generic model and do validation. And the output, they produce electrified population map and national access rate. So they produce the national access rate, not by province access rate. This is the model, the World Bank model, and their key findings. They said that regularly and really tracking the multi-dimensional indicator is a costly and time intensive task. Satellite imagery of nighttime light could provide real-time information on electricity access across vast areas and clarify how many people could benefit from it. And combining nighttime light with household survey and geospatial dataset makes it possible to calibrate access that model. And NTL data outline general pattern where data are otherwise scarce. NTL-only models are unable to predict access rate with accuracy. Nighttime light data are promising. They find geospatial resolution around 450 meters highlight inequality of access. Moving forward, the accuracy of estimation could be improved with additional geoforensic household survey. And based on this paper, they produce national access electricity, but maybe you can combine or make for province level also possibly, because at first I think that their OpenStreetMap is used to make the local administrative unit, but apparently they use OpenStreetMap as additional data for the night light. So they use the road. But in Indonesia, like in Indonesia, for example, we didn't in OpenStreetMap we didn't have data on street light. Maybe in other country have data on the street light in OpenStreetMap. So should I continue after this, Rob or Matthew or?
Yeah, thanks, Titi. Maybe just go back a slide. Maybe I can make a few comments. Because the World Bank research is very interesting, but there's kind of mixed. No, the other slide. There's kind of mixed results in terms of what it can potentially offer our project. And they've made some kind of worrying findings. When they're talking about costly and time-intensive tasks, they're of course talking about a multi-dimensional indicator using all these different data sources, and it can be quite technically challenging. So the thing for us to investigate is to look at what can be done that isn't so costly and time-intensive. So how can we easily use a nighttime light data, and what kind of results can it offer us, which can fill in the quality gaps that may be there for the data that you have on access to electricity from your household surveys and censuses. And that's why it's really important that we get some calculations from you for what you can find out from your household surveys. And we'll talk later about the next steps. And I think what's really important to think about is the quality assessment frameworks that we talked about in a previous training, to kind of compare what we can do with nighttime light data and what the household survey gives us, both in terms of accuracy but also timeliness. And the World Bank study looked at a kind of annual average rates, and maybe that's useful for Cambodia, or maybe it's not useful, and maybe we can see periodicity and that kind of thing. So I think it's crucial that we think about the World Bank research as experimental, and it is experimental, and they are trying quite complicated things, and we need to think about our project in terms of it being experimental too, but also thinking about how we can use less complicated things in the near term to add value to what you have in household surveys, and then think to the future about, okay, well, what can be done that's more complicated that adds value. So we're weighing up the costs and benefits, and that's quite the essence of this project. Roth, I don't know if you want to add to that, because I think it's a really important point.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Matthew, for highlighting that point. It is an ever-growing field, and we wanted to share this with you so that we're upfront, and we're telling you in advance that this work that we're doing is essentially experimenting with the use of nighttime light data to produce the indicator, and we wanted to share previous efforts by other colleagues, especially the World Bank, who is the custodian of the SDG 7.1.1 producing indicators for access to electricity, and they are already they are also experimenting with nighttime light data, but they are still at a phase where they are not able to use the model to confirm that they can produce official statistics from this at the moment. So what we're trying to do at the moment is to support their effort in a way by looking at how we can use we can work with NIS to use Cambodia data and produce the access to electricity indicator, using nighttime light data, which is in a way showing that we're trying to find a more cost-effective and efficient model for producing the indicator. Yeah, I think that is point well made, and I hope our colleague from Cambodia is able to understand that. And if you have any comment that you would like to share with us, then please feel free to do so as well.
Yeah, I just to add to that, Roth, I think it's the very least the kind of minimal thing we can get out of it is understanding how good the nighttime light data would be for validation of the official statistics. So it's not, and in some senses, kind of allows us to ground truth or understand the quality of the information for ground truthing. So there is a minimum and a maximum that we can potentially get out of all of this, but at least there should be some good learning to come out of it. But maybe we can come back to this when we have the question and answer session after TT finishes the rest of the presentation. So it's something to think about. TT.
Yeah, actually, sorry. I think Cambodia have a household survey every year, annual survey that asking the electricity access annually. That's my question, actually.
បងសម្រាប់អង្កេតសេដ្ឋកិច្ចហើយនិងសង្គមគិច្ចរបស់យើងតើយើងធ្វើរាល់ឆ្នាំដែរបងឬក៏មិនដែរបង
ធ្វើ2ឆ្នាំម្ដង
2ឆ្នាំម្ដងអូខេ
So annual.
So they do it twice well not twice biannually, so once every 2 years. Once every 2 years.
Once every 2 years. So that's also like the voluntary national review. It asking every years. So in the middle, maybe if that the result of NTL promising, then you can use NTL data when you didn't have annual. When you didn't have household survey. So it's kind of like estimation or replacement estimation, yeah. Because like the maybe Ministry of Planning or other ministry that responsible for the SDG 7.1, and then usually every year they submit the VNR, the voluntary national review, need annual data to put in the VNR for the target. So maybe this is can like there is possibility NTL night light time data can be used here. Okay, next. This is from the geospatial roadmap. It's actually it's about the same with the planning, the strategic planning. Like it's established the national committee. I think in every country now, since the SDGs agenda is announced in 2000 now. It's announced, then every country now coordinate. Have a national committee and coordinate the SDGs indicators. So the key action first establish a national committee. I think every country doing this, and use the global fundamental geospatial data teams to identify national data capacity and highlight potential data gaps. So that's the data gaps that like in Indonesia, some of SDGs indicator is not available, even from uh, the institution. I mean, from the agency because they didn't collect it. So some of the data is not available, and some are not available regularly. So there is a data gap to fulfill because in Indonesia, our Ministry of Planning always submit the voluntary national review every year, and in July, every July, the report should be done. So before that, they collected all the data, and we also set the target that we want to achieve because the target is necessary for no one left behind. And so there potentially there is data gap, and the work towards the implementation of guiding framework like the integrated geospatial information framework, the global statistical geospatial framework, and the generic GSBBM GSBPM model. Assess the available skill and technology capacity, leverage regional. So in terms of the GSBPM, the user need is that from the Ministry of Planning and for other ministry to have their program or their action plan, to make their program or the action plan. So there is user need for this, and assess available skill, technology capacity, and leverage regional platform. Establish partnership with academia and private sector to bridge the gap. Like in in Indonesia, we established the partnership with academia, with private company to teach our staff. And yeah, like when we have data lake, then we train our staff with Hadoop and others, and also teach with R, Python, and others language from private or from academia. And other key action, identify key source, prioritize the data needs, prioritize focus indicator based on the national circumstances and priorities, commit the convening workshop to promote the sharing of knowledge and experience, convene workshop with SDG custodian to confirm appropriate data.
Sorry, Titi. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know if it's me or everyone else. I think you're talking about the next slide, and it's not on my screen.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I forgot to move. And yes, so that's the key source, and yeah, prioritize the focus indicators. So, for example, sorry, because I know Indonesia, so my example always Indonesia. So when we start the SDGs, then we put it in our national development program, and we secure kind of like budget is kind of like national priority, but not for all indicators. So all indicators that important or necessary first. That's like poverty and other. Yeah, I remember property, agriculture. That's kind of like national priority. So the budget is always there. It cannot be cut and cannot be moved or removed. And regarding the big data, so this is the Cambodia National Statistic Development in 2019 and 2023. National Strategy for Development Statistics 2019-2023. The vision is support the pursuit of sustainable development for all in Cambodia. So from the vision, it's clearly including the SDGs. And from the mission, the national statistical system is coordinate, collect, compile, analyze, and disseminate high quality and objective official statistics and assist informed decision making. So it means decision making data based data. I mean, yeah, debate and this is discussion with the royal government, provincial, district, and commune government, business, and the media, as well as the white Cambodian and international. So it means that informed in evidence-based decision making. And in the strategy, in the strategy, the objective, I think in the strategy one, which is include strategy one, high quality, which is NSS, and also the IT, the ICT, the strategy 04. This is capacity support of aspect of statistical collection. So this is the strategy 4 that it seems in line with the big data used for the data source. So, and others strategy. So I think that's all from me. Maybe Matthew, back to you. Or
Yeah.
Ross.
Thank you, Titi. That's very it's very important that we looked at that. Our colleagues in Cambodia hopefully will be very familiar with their national strategy and the objectives, but that the important thing is that in this project we need to keep reminding ourselves to link back to the overall strategy within Cambodia, and because not least because we know we need to kind of prioritize what we do and how we do it in this project, and that needs to inform what we do, and would definitely need, when we write the national strategy, we need to kind of hook what we're doing into those objectives and the wider picture there. And that brings us quite neatly to just taking a step back now and looking at the project and planning for the future. So next slide, please, Titi. So as you know, we have a Google document on the internet that we hope to use as a live planning tool, and you are invited to comment and put notes into that document. So please do so. It's not an ESCAP document, it's a shared tool. So if you've got thoughts about the projects and questions, just put them into that document. This will really help us to plan. So in terms of where we are, we know along the kind of left-hand side of that table there, these are the kind of main elements of the strategy which we're aiming to develop by early next year. And in terms of progress so far, so we're kind of still in the inception period. So we're still figuring out the exact way forward, and in the inception workshop in a few weeks, hopefully we can use that to point to make some decisions about the way forward. So far we've had a small training journey where TT has led you through understanding the basics around using big data in the context of this project. But we hope that the workshop will agree the target data sources in nighttime light data and the kind of models and methodologies which we can focus on developing, and again making sure that we prioritize what we're doing in terms of what's feasible in the short term and what we can do in the longer term. And it was important when Titi was talking about the geospatial roadmap to think about, well, assessing what skills and technologies will be needed to go further in the future. And then also thinking about the partnerships that might need to be developed to help you develop those skills and in the longer term, the technologies required. So these are really important strategic points to think about. We also have learned in the training courses and talked about the quality assurance framework. So I think in the inception workshop, we need to kind of decide on whether we want to use the framework we talked about before, the kind of the prototype which has been developed for big data, and or whether we want to use the standard quality assurance frameworks for official statistics, and maybe we need to use both and assess the quality of the data, not just in accuracy, but timeliness, all these things, and help us to decide about what to focus on and what not to focus on. In terms of what's needed next, we do need some experimentation with the nighttime light data and the local area units to think about what's going to be possible and feasible, and hopefully the national consultant can help you with that. And I think a really important first step to understanding these quality issues, as we discussed, will be to get some data calculations from you around the indicators from your household surveys, so we can establish the quality dimensions for that survey, and then look at how the nighttime light data can fill the gaps. So in terms of next steps, the inception workshop will be, I think, important for deciding focus and priorities and planning in detail, and also for thinking about data quality and all those kinds of things. We will need some experimentation with the data, and we will need, I think, to start thinking about bringing in your partners, potentially of a mapping agency, GIS experts, and not just maybe in NIS in this, but maybe there are others around in academia or other relationships that you have, which we can bring in to help us make as much progress as possible. Next slide, please. And so there's a lot of grey areas in this table, you'll see. So these are really areas where we know we'll need to think about the implications once we've kind of established a model and done the experimentation. So things like regulatory implications for the future we can consider later, and kind of what the forward strategy looks like for planning resources, etc. But one thing that would be really useful in the next phase is for users to be engaged. So in particular, when we understand the quality dimensions of the normal official statistics from household surveys and what we can get from nighttime light data, to think about how users can benefit from that and what they want, and engage them with that process. That's really important for helpers prioritizing the project and getting a national strategy in place, which is fit for purpose. Next slide, please, Titi. So yeah, so we just did a very brief step out and review of what we need to plan for next. The inception workshop will be a really important step, I think, to kind of setting the way forward, and particularly when we have the national consultant in place. But I think now it would be great if we can hear from you in terms of your thoughts about planning for the future, and any questions you have on anything Titi was explaining in that strategic review. Back to you, Roth, to facilitate the questions and comments.
No, I think you did a fantastic job. And it's very good to paint that picture so everyone looks forward to the next steps. Before I pass on to our colleagues at the at our NIS, just wanted to re-emphasize the point that this document is available online, and then please feel free to uh, add your inputs or comment in there. When needed. The main point of this document is so that it's helpful for everyone to be abreast of to have the latest information on our project. As Matthew pointed out, the Inception workshop is going to be important in not only showcasing what we've done so far, but also getting good comments from stakeholders who we might have to engage in the future. I know that Bong Metia shared the border from the Ministry of Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction. Is from the Intergovernmental Working Group. And even though we already have the information, it's important that we bring them on board as well so that they know what we're doing and they understand the purpose of our project. Similarly, we would appreciate comments and inputs from our development partners. And I know that Bong Metia plans on sharing inviting them to the Inception workshop as well. So that's very good to know. So I'll stop there and then pass on to Bong Metia if you have any comments and updates on this work plan that we have in front of you. Thank you. Bong មាន comment អីតេតូនទៅនឹង work plan ដែល consultant យើងគាត់បាន present មិញឯងបង
Finally my laptop was revoked and I can't access through my laptop. So far so good. I think the work plan we will but I just want to clarify that we very happy to use the 9 light time to use this data, and we will combine with the population census to see what will be we can say that the data will be acceptable or not. Let's see. This is new technology that we need to learn. Yeah.
Thank you, Bong. That's very good to know. And we will be with you along the way. And with the onboarding of the national consultant, he will be able to help provide any clarity in person so that our work would hopefully be, be facilitated, streamlined even more. And yes, as Bong noted, it's very good if we have tabulations from you using the census and survey on access to electricity so that we can compare that to the data that we get from nighttime light data. And that's very good thing to do. So maybe in the next step, NIS can work on that and then share with us, and then we can have a discussion next week. I see a hand from Bong Samrat. So please, you have the floor, Bong. Subject Bong.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Savanrat, and the consultant presentation. First, I'm sorry that partially involved it, and I just catch up some point you raised related to the work plans for next step. I think uh, in the coming weeks of the Inception workshop, that's very important. And you mentioned about the process of collecting the methodology and also the collaboration with the other agency for these indicator granularities, because it should be integrated with the NTL data and the big data, as you mentioned about the importance of the night lifetime data, and that is a good idea to have a multi-stakeholder which they have responsible for collecting the electricity data, like Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Industry. Also, the responsible for reporting the SDG in the Vienna report. So the workshop will prospectively invite those colleagues from Ministry of Industry to attend and for discussion the methodology or the decision of the data collection, what type of the data source that we can use to formulating this indicator. And uh, for the concept of the quality frameworks that uh, we notice on the data quality assurance and the risk mitigation, and also the dissemination need, as the slide at the moment presented by Matthews, with also the next futures that we will propose the user engagement or the partner engagement. That is a very good methodology, and hopefully we will see the new techniques or the way that we pace the way for the next few months that we have local consultant, as you maybe you got the national consultant already, and after the inception workshop, and we will meet and working and in depth working with those consultant. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bong. Those are very valuable comments indeed. And yes, we have already gotten the national consultant. I don't know if I mentioned his name already. His name is Ronsi Narat, Pum Ronsi Narat. ខ្ញុំមិនដឹង Pum ឬ Pim នេះតែបាទឈ្មោះគាត់ Ronsi
Okay.
Narat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we it seems a familiarity to him, as he also
Okay.
a team of poverty training to the GDP of the Ministry of Planning.
Okay, that's very good to know, Bong. And also Bong's point on inviting other relevant ministry, yes, that's absolutely important. I think just to clarify, Bong, were you referring to the Ministry of Mines and Energy for this indicator, or Ministry of Industry, Science, Technology, and Innovation?
Yes, it could be both. As a Ministry of Industry, we have the national. We have EDC, yeah, EDC is under the
Okay.
Ministry of Industry. If the granularity of the forming indicator would be relevant to the mines and energy, yeah, I think would be good to involve them.
Yep. Okay, yes, that makes sense now. And yes, the development partner is also important. I think Wong mentioned that you plan to share invitations to them as well. So I think if Wong has already contacts with the World Bank, perhaps we can extend the invitation to the World Bank in Cambodia so that they can bring one of their colleagues to join us for the Inception workshop. And please, as I keep on mentioning, this document is for us to use. So if Wong has any question or comment and you wanted to populate it in this document, please feel free to do so. It would be good for us to hear from you and learn what we need to work on and what we need to change moving forward as well. Okay, do you have any other question and comment, Wong Metia and colleague?
សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំអត់មានទេហើយគ្នាយើងអាច មានជាសំណួរអីអាចលើកនៅតែអាចលើកបានអរគុណ
Yeah, I will take time to go through the document and then provide input later if they have any some doubt or clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonds, but that will be very helpful and Bongmei here as well. So I think we can go to the next slide, or we essentially okay. Then I think I'll take this opportunity to talk a bit about the structure of the Inception workshop, if that's possible. Let me bring up the concept note a bit. Okay. Right. So this is the concept note, and as mentioned earlier, there's a change in venue. The time and date is the same, so that everyone is able to attend, and appreciate Bong Mei Thi and Excellency Chan cooperation in finding a suitable date and time for us as well. I know that you will have to directly leave for Siem Reap after the workshop, and it's a 5-6 hour drive. So really appreciate your flexibility on this. There's a change in venue though. Before it was Sunway, so now it's at Raffles. So please take note of that. And I have also developed a Microsoft Team link that we can share with colleagues, and we can use for the workshop. The main thing that I would like to talk about is on the work plan or the sort of agenda for the workshop. Oh, actually, sorry, it's the agenda is at the bottom. So we will start with opening remarks by our director, Ms. Rachel Bevan, and then Excellency Lena to deliver opening remarks, and we will try to have a photo session and then a short coffee break to allow Excellency Lena, if she would like to tend to her other priorities, then she can do so during this time. And when we reconvene, we will start with a presentation. And we would like to propose that NIS deliver this presentation to show ownership of the project and to show participants that this is what NIS is currently working on at the moment with ESCAP to explore the use of big data for the production of this indicator. It shouldn't be it should be fairly straightforward. It's just a project overview with objective design and methodology. I have usually use I do have a slide that I normally use when I talk to others, and I can share that slide with you. And obviously, Bong Mei Thi and others can work and revise on the slide as much as you want. But the main point for this part is to show participants who are not aware of our work so far, and to show management as well on how we have designed this project to date. So I just wanted to make sure that, excuse me, NIS is okay with this proposal. So Bong Mei Thi, your thoughts would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Savanrod. Yes, actually, if you have existing slide presentation, you can share us, and then we can edit as we are currently working with the this big data. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, well, that would be fantastic. So I will share the slide presentation, and then I will also share any updates to the slide to Bong accordingly as well. So we can note that NIS will deliver this presentation, and that's very good. And then this part we put it as a live demonstration for now. But hopefully we are able to do so. The live demonstration is essentially what TT showed in training number 2 on how she is able to use Google Earth observation to be able to produce nighttime light data. So it's nothing new, but for those who are not aware of the progress of the project so far, it will be very good for them to know what we are working with. I said this is tentative because depending on the internet connectivity, it might, we might have some delays and we might not be able to show that. If that's the case, then we will open the question and answer early and let other people provide comments and inputs and ask questions as needed. So that's plan B. So far, do you have any question or do you have any comment on this approach? Okay, we can talk about it later as well as we go through this, and then we will have a short break. And once we've reconvened, we will start this second half, which is essentially, we call it stakeholder consultation, but it's more of strategic planning. It's basically for us to get input from participants on the linkages of our project with Cambodia's, sorry, with Cambodia's broader strategy and vision. And of course, the guiding document here for us and for NIS is the National Strategy for the Development of Statistics, and relevant visions and strategy on that as well, such as the national as SDG, as well as the rectangular strategy phase 4 as well. And obviously, it will give participants an opportunity to share insights and provide comment on how feasible are some of our work and how they match with the work of their organization. And those input will be important for us to feed into our national strategy development. And we've allocated about 30 minutes for that. And this one, we will also have to ask NIS for support again to be a facilitator. So I'm assuming that the conversation here can either be in English or in Khmer, so that everyone is able to contribute. And then for the 30-minute, I will also help take note if needed, and then NIS should facilitate this conversation, and we have allocated afterwards some time for NIS to summarize what has been discussed and share insights with everyone in the plenary. So far, do you have any comment or question on this part?
I think it's look good.
Okay, thank you, Bong Samrat.
Excuse me, for me, I think we should put the concentration on the source of data, whether the suppose Ministry of Mine and Energy they're willing to share their data, that they're willing to share the availability of their data. We can asking them. We should asking some required data from the stakeholder. I also maybe 10 to 15 minutes to give them the time to if they said, oh, this is my ministry have this data I would like to share. Should we give them some time, right?
Oh, you mean give them some time to share what they have and what they're working on?
It means that we should raise the data source of the our project. Suppose we need the data from the mine and energy, we should put thing on the some slide that we need this information from your ministry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We sorry.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah. I think, I don't know, maybe they make kind of like presentation with about what the data they have, and then a little bit of their metadata, something administrative data, the electricity maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'm just concerned that it might be a bit too early. Well, not too early. Depending on whether they agree to deliver a presentation or not. We have to reach out to them soon if we want to ask them to present, and we need to do a bit of coordination as well. I think what we can also do is we can extend this to 45 minutes, and under this we can have questions. We can work together to develop a list of questions. We don't have to share the question with the participant or stakeholder, but we can develop questions based on the strategic alignment with the National Strategy for Development of Statistics. We can have questions on data source, on, okay, from the participants, would you have any inputs on the data source? Whether you have any data source that you are able to share with us, and so on. So allow them to answer this question instead of presenting what they have. I think that is also an option, and it doesn't add a lot of work to them, so that they are more receptive of our approach. And then for this, we can have other questions as well to facilitate the discussion, and then afterward we have a 15-minute reporting back and discussion and review of next plan of work plan and next step.
Roth, maybe the discussion, that section there, you include specific reference to feedback from stakeholders. So when they see the agenda, they know that we're inviting them to give feedback on what they've heard. You might want to extend that section a little bit and cut down the stakeholder consultation by the presentation. Give more time for talking.
Yeah.
So one of our colleagues has a hand up.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't.
Excuse me. Sorry, I mean that we do not ask them to presentation, but we presentation that we did this data from from their ministry. And as Savanthor say, we have give them the questionnaire. So questionnaire to bring their data. Yeah, this is a good idea also.
Oh, thank you, Bong. I think we don't necessarily have to give them the questionnaire. We just have a list of questions for us, and during the session on the day, we ask them whether they have any data that they want to share with us, and that session will be for this 2 parts. I'll merge this and basically give everyone more time to discuss. And then, as Matthew said, this part will be feedback from participants and so on. And then we can ask them during this time whether they have any data that they can share with us, and we can work together on how we can get the data if needed, because sometimes there are some administrative process that we need to go through as well. So this section will be for us to discuss on that, if that's possible, unless you feel like there should be specific list of questions that we can share with the participants in advance.
Yeah, yes, okay, yeah.
What we could do is in the presentation on the project overview is maybe just to warm people up at the start, is to just put a slide in which looks at the key issues that the challenges or opportunities we have with stakeholders with so outside of the project group, we just add a slide there. You don't have to put it in the agenda where it says, okay, what we need from partners is XYZ, and then they can be thinking about, the partners in the room can be thinking about those issues, and then later in the day we can discuss them with them more directly. So we can prepare a slide on that. So
Yeah, we can prepare a slide on challenges and opportunity, and then share with NIS, our NIS colleague. The challenges, it would just be about access to data, and whether other people in the room is able to share their data with us or not, so that we can put them on the
How can
agenda.
partners help with our challenges? So they request we set the challenges out, and then later we say, how can you help? And one of the challenges is data sources. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll revise this part to give us more time for discussion. And then just to confirm with Bong Miti and others that NIS is happy to facilitate this part, right? And I will be there. I will be mainly station. I will be mainly using the laptop and operating the system on that day, because I realized that someone needs to do that. Or actually, I might get the national consultant to do that, depending on how across he is, and then I'll be able to help facilitate this area as well if needed.
One more question, just want to clarify. So your team will be online from Thailand, right?
I will be there in person បងខ្ញុំទៅខ្មែរបងអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំចូលរួមនៅខ្មែរហ្មងបងនៅមួយបងក្នុងបន្ទប់ហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំអាចជួយ facilitate បានកន្លែងនេះដែរបើលោក Matthew ហើយនឹង TT គាត់មកពីគាត់ Matthew គាត់នៅបាលី TT គាត់នៅ Jakarta អញ្ចឹងគាត់ចូលរួម online បាទ
Okay.
បាទ
So one more question regarding to the table on the population census. If TT need a requirement the table frame, please give us. Otherwise, we can tabulation for you. Suppose in that table, it should have the province code, province name, the access to electricity. If you can require the specific table, please give us the frame, give us the template. Okay.
TT, we didn't catch that. Can you repeat what you just said?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can make the table frame.
Ross, we're seeing your inbox. It's not that it's not interesting, but just
sorry.
Actually, it was quite interesting.
Whoops. Apologies. Hopefully nothing embarrassing came out of that. But yes. Okay, so TT will develop the sampling frame and share with the with NIS so that they're able to share the data, some of the data with TT to work on that. And I will revise this concept note and send it back to NIS. Just checking, Bong, if you have already sent the invitation to our colleague or not yet.
Regarding to the invitation, we are not yet. We're just in draft process, and we will try to we will share you the list of participation. As you mentioned, we have can access only 50%, right?
Yes, only 50, Wong, because of our budget situation. We have to have a limit to only 50 people. Yes, so that will be helpful. So I will share this revised concept note and agenda to everyone so that you are able to use this with the invitation letter and send it to others. And that's basically it. I think we have a good plan, and thank you for agreeing to contribute to many of this session. And I hope that it will be a very good learning experience for everyone here as well. That's it from me on the Inception workshop. And just quickly on the list of follow-up items that I have at the moment. Following this training, we will try to set up our usual team meeting on well, I have to look at the calendar again, but next week. And before we meet again next week, it would be great if TT can work with NIS to share the frame and ask NIS to share the data so that you can have a look. And also if Bong can just go through the information that you have and try to tabulate the access to electricity on your own as well. I think that would be helpful. More to do with building your familiarity with how the tabulation process work and letting your team work on that, so that we have a better idea of what is needed next. And then we will have this meeting, and then we will share more updates on the Inception workshop next week. And I see that you have your hands up, Bong. I don't know whether that's from before or not, Bong Mei Thia.
បានលើកពីមុនទេបាទសុំទោស
Okay. Okay. So Matthew, do you have any final words? Titi? No final words?
No.
All right. បងមានអីចង់បន្ថែមចុងក្រោយទេបងបាទ
បាទអត់អីទេនឹងយើងនឹងធ្វើការមួយគ្នាតទៀត Yes, thank you very much for training such kind of this training because it's very important for us. It's very new, and I think we will try our best to do this project for successful. And thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Bong. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see each other again next week. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.